24 barely committed to memory, GTP teams head to Sebring International Raceway for a midwinter shakedown. They're collecting data and doing some fine-tuning. Sometimes, maybe too fine.
You need to like, yeah, it just kind of roughed it in there.
That'll make it better once you rough it in.
I'm not being funny. Like, I could have mine there anyway.
For Wayne Taylor Racing, a podium finish at the Rolex 24 proved they can go the distance. But coming in second is always a bitter pill. It's clear ACURA had the upper hand at Daytona, but an oil leak nearly cost Meyer Shank Racing its win. Halfway through the 24-hour race, the crew rushed to replace the entire rear end of the car, but didn't.
So now we shut up?
We stopped talking now. The front of the car looks very nice, but the rear is... it's massive.
Strange behind the window.
First race under the belt, Rolex 24. What did we think based on where the finishes were versus what you thought going into the race?
Well, I think it was a massive surprise. I mean, you come in and you think Porsche Penske, they're going to dominate. They're just going to walk away with it, and it wasn't. And it was the opposite of that.
I felt a little bit vindicated because when we looked at this and we talked to some of the guys, I was like, I'm going for Meyer Shank. Because everybody looks at Meyer Shank as this young, spunky startup team, but they have the experience now. Now is the opportunity for those people that want to take chances.
I think ACURA's got a really, really strong program. I think their car is developed. I think those are the big things that you're going to need going into Sebring.
For ACURA, it was great. For this particular team, Wayne Taylor Racing, they were slightly disappointed. Certainly some confidence gained from the way the cars performed, the teams performed.
9 years in a row, we've either won or come second. Clearly there are some issues. We gained Sebring now testing, and so far everything's looking really good. Bigger picture obviously is the championship. No, we just missed out on it last year, and we don't intend doing that again this year.
Is there anything worse than finishing second in a race?
No. They're joined at the hip because of their relationship with ACURA, but you know Wayne Taylor is just seething right now that they didn't win the 24. If you look at ACURA, they're coming in on their front foot. They're now looking forward. So now, as opposed to finding the problems they need to fix, let's focus on what we need to do to get the car set up to go fast at Sebring now that we've conquered Daytona.
Daytona was not the race we expected. If we are really honest, we know it's a new program, new car, so these things can happen. It's just now how you react and how you work to get better.
They don't say Penske perfect for no reason. It's, you know, you could have 100% here, 100% here, but if you're at 70% here, it's like you have nothing.
You know, coming out of Daytona with the issues that they have, that is just eating away at Roger every single night.
Somebody grab me 4,000 zip ties.
We have a lot of work to do in terms of setup. We need to get be able to do a long run fast as well.
It's a new car, it's a new partnership, and even though Porsche has been partners with Penske before in the past, this is all brand new again. So I think he's got to keep his focus here, because otherwise everyone else is going to get the step on him, and Roger will not allow that to happen.
They're just jumping back into the fold. It's been nearly 2 decades since a V8 has powered a prototype for Porsche, and so I felt like they started behind the 8 ball, even with all the testing.
I don't think we are by far the best, but I don't think we are also in a bad spot.
If I'm thinking, you know, a shark in the water as IMSA heads to Sebring, it is Cadillac. They have shown up in that DPI car in past years and won again and again and again, and that to me can't be ignored.
I don't think there's one big thing, there's not one decision that won or lost the race. It's a lot of little things, and we've identified a dozen of them that we can attack pretty quickly, and that's what we're here testing. And there's other things long term we'll want to think about.
One of the things we see with these MGUs and battery packs is that the teams and OEMs kind of have some freedom in how they're going to cool them.
We were very fortunate. We didn't come home and tear things down and have an uh-oh moment. Managing brake temperatures, managing your regen number when you're coming to yellow, all that type of effort was very much a learning curve. I think stepping into Sebring, that'll be more of a second nature for us, and we'll be able to take better advantage.
BMW at Daytona maybe surprised some people. They only bring 1 car to Sebring testing. This is one of, if not the most important race of the season, and really will build out the championship picture.
Getting data from two cars, getting feedback from two cars is the most important thing, because at the end of the day, if you have one car has an issue that the other car doesn't, you'll be able to compare and figure out what was done differently. But then also in just setup.
Maybe BMW is playing the safe game of like, hey, we want to keep this one tub pristine and make sure that we have, enough parts to be able to run all the races. Or maybe there's other components that they want to be able to save so they're not pounding on them in testing.
Yeah, you've come into the shop at an interesting day today. We've had the Rolex 24, of course. After that, we did multiple static tests. So what you're seeing here today in the shop is a rebuild of the car. It's all stripped down. This is kind of how it looks when it's between races or between tests. So they come down to the tub like this, all come apart for disassembly, crack checking, mileage. They all have mileages that go into a spreadsheet that we've developed. We have to look for damage, repair whatever we find, and then get it ready to go out the next time. But typically you can turn a car in a week and a half if we had to. Yeah. We definitely did not expect to win. We never did a 24-hour test, which a lot of the other teams were able to do. So we knew, HPD had run the motor for 24 hours before. That wasn't a problem, but we had lots of little things here and there that we worried about a lot. We had an oil leak we've talked a lot about in the gearbox from probably lap 200 on. So that would have been maybe the 5th hour, 6th hour. We had this oil leak that we had to contend with, but that wasn't the car's fault. It was just a little O-ring that was nicked and it was causing a problem. So every 3 or 4 stops, we had to put oil back in the car. During the middle of the night, we figured out that we needed to prepare a whole back half of the car, because just to do one specific thing takes a lot more time than simply unbelting the back of it and bolting a new one on.
And while the Meyer-Shank crew at Daytona hustled through the night to prepare a new rear section, they never had to use it. And they held their lead to the top of the podium. But here at Sebring, for the team and for the driver Tom Bloomquist, things aren't going quite as smoothly.
Between 6 and 7 right front. Just snap over steer?
Yeah, just typical. Yeah, we just obviously spun off and did some damage to the car, but we're just taking our time to get things back and running so we can head out this afternoon and complete everything that we need to be at least be done. I just flew through everything that we had. That was like ice. It was like aquaplaning.
You lost the rear or the front?
Rear.
For all GTP teams, the Sebring test, 1 month before the race, is the first opportunity since Daytona to get their cars dialed in. And also to establish a baseline setup for Sebring's irregular track surface.
We talk about Daytona being smooth, almost glass-like. That is not the case with Sebring.
Sebring is the heavyweight bruiser of all tracks anywhere.
You have to strike a very careful balance of being able to absorb those bumps and those jumps without damaging your car, but also not making it too soft, because if you make it too soft and the car has body roll, you're losing so much downforce that you're gonna get passed.
A big factor is the feedback the driver gives the teams.
What do you have on this?
Yeah, you tell me.
How was it?
Are you getting understeer? Which ones?
The challenges aren't just for the drivers. They're also for engineers gathering feedback. As every team in GTP car shares the same tire, feedback comes from all directions.
Almost all the rides.
Here, unlike previous times, we've had much more of a peak and drop.
Just kind of lose rear, and then I start to lose a little bit of front.
Exiting 16, I feel like TC sometimes catches too much.
Literally, all directions.
We're drivers, we complain, that's what we do. It's very difficult as a driver to kind of understand the reason why a car works in one corner but then doesn't work in another.
I'm going to stand by my belief that we'll see an ACURA and a CADILLAC battling it out at the end of the race, but I still feel like CADILLAC's going to make that leap, and this will be their time to shine during the season.
Like you said, Bozzy, I think it's going to be ACURA and CADILLAC at the end. Maybe Porsche sneaks in there if they can get the car reliable, and we can have a great battle.
Next time on Win the Weekend. IMSA officials penalized Meyer-Shank Racing for data infractions of the Rolex 24. and we return to Central Florida for the ultimate reliability test, the 12 Hours of Sebring.